Welcome to this edition of Hebrew Nation News on YouTube. Every week, the world seems to be descending deeper and faster into end-time events. Listen in as Bonnie Harvey covers the news highlights of the week for a quick overview. Remember, we know not the day nor the hour, but we do know the season. Reporting to you live on YouTube is this week's report, Countdown to the Second Coming.
Welcome to the Countdown Report of February 12, 2017. Here's an outline of where we'll be going today. Number one is this coalition of progressives that are marching throughout the country and with the goal of making the country ungovernable. Who are they? Why are they doing this? And most importantly, will they succeed? We'll go to Duduman's vision, in which an angel was talking with him, answering his questions, and he said that the angel said, trouble in America begins in the middle of the country, and we shall go over that. I do believe that Dimitri Duduman was a man of the Lord. Next, we'll go to a report that there is self-replicating malware in European banks, and where will this lead us? We'll go to a State Department whistleblower concerning the vetting of immigrants. Is it possible? Then we'll go to David Wilkerson, a video clip saying that financial collapse begins in Germany. This is very helpful. It gives us warning and guidelines about when to get our own money out of the bank. Last, we'll end up with satellite photos of China. Are they preparing for an attack? Let's look at the progressives that are marching throughout this country and wanting to make the country ungovernable. Bild, a German newspaper, did a study on the anti-fascist rioters and found that 92% of them were still living with their moms. Now, this is important because they are not able to live as adults. 84 were male, and 72% were adults, young adults. These are the people that got into adulthood and opportunities were gone. There were no jobs. If there are jobs, are they employing jobs? Are they part-time? Are they minimum wage? Whatever the jobs are, if 90% were single and 34% were unemployed. Well, okay, the 34% are still living with their moms, but 92% are living with their moms. So that means that close to 60% of them are underemployed. They cannot make a living wage. They cannot get their own apartment or their own home. 60% of these people, they are virtually disenfranchised from the Western model, from capitalism, from our way of life. They are disenfranchised. One commentator made this observation. The worst of the leftists are often white underachievers. I would say they're underachievers of any color. They're underachievers. For whatever reason, in the capitalist Western model, they are not achieving. They are not able to achieve. Usually they take pride in abasing themselves and denigrating Western culture so that they can justify their failure within it. Now that makes a lot of sense to me. And I hope it does to you. This is their mindset. I am not able to thrive in this milieu, so we have to change the platform. If this is capitalism and I can't compete in it, I can't succeed in it, then we have to get a new platform. And this motivates them. This is why they are burning American flags. They are calling for to make this country ungovernable. They are total failures within this culture. I mean, everybody is at this point. Our jobs have been shipped out. Only part-time remains, thanks to increased in minimum wage and thanks to free trade agreements which benefit the other countries and not the United States. We have given our jobs away. It's cheaper for us to become a colony of China or a colony of any place else, ship them our ideas, our resources, and let them make the stuff and then ship it back to us duty free and cheap and have the people yump them up at the big box stores. And in the meantime, the American worker has completely been shut out of this process. Other countries use abused workers, either slave labor, which is in the prison system. I have read before that most Walmart manufacturing plants are outside of a Chinese prison. Now compete with that labor force. Or they're underemployed. The sweatshops of Southeast Asia, where they work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, and get, minimum a couple of dollars a week. Is that what? And the American worker is forced to compete with these models. They can't. So there are no jobs. So we see the Marxists, Misfits, Muslims banding together, wanting regime change in this country, because none of these groups, Marxists, Misfits, or Muslims, are able to succeed in this culture. Dave Hodges has a contact, Rosebud, in Department of Homeland Security. He reports that the mainstream media are saying, quotes, the protest in response to Trump's immigration policies. He calls this misinformation or fake news. They are not in response to Trump or anything about Trump. They are in response to a failure of their own ability to succeed in this culture. They're protesting our way of life, our government, traditional norms. It is a marriage of Marxists, Muslims, and unemployed misfits. They're angry. They're mean. When I was doing jury trials, I'm an attorney. When I was doing jury trials, one of the cautions about getting somebody on your jury was anyone that is underemployed, because they're angry and they're mean, and they will take it out on your client if you are a defense counselor. So don't have them on a jury, and we have a country full of them. These are the millennials. They're angry and they're mean. They're anti-Semitic, pro-Arab, anti-democracy. They're anti-God. I invite you to go back to video clips of the 2012 Democratic Convention in which they said, should we include God? Should we keep God in our platform? And the audience booed. Very telling. Their goal is to make the country ungovernable, to bring down the United States. Their vehicle? Civil war. They want to cause civil war. Here are some of their posters. Free the people. What they really want are good jobs. Look at this grouping up here. My Mexican, Muslim, Black, LGBT, female immigrant friends. These are the groups of peoples, oftentimes with the lowest jobs or underpaid jobs, or underpaid compared to male worker jobs. This is a group of the disenfranchised in America. There is a group called Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. That is the anagram that they posted. It was started by Becker, Flounders, and Elias Maui, and it is staffed by the Workers' World Party. This is a Marxist, communist, leftist group. And you can see their platform here, from Ferguson to Gaza. They're lumping all of this together. Everyone on the globe who cannot succeed or does not have access to ideal capitalism, they're banding together to bring down the Western capitalist countries in order to justify their own failures. This is Flounders, Here is the group Answer, ANSWER, Act Now to Stop War and End Racism. And here is Becker, and you can see some of the mugs of the party. They, with Len here, reaching out to the austerity victim generation. They understand that people who are disenfranchised are not going to view the present governmental style as ideal. Here is Answer Organization, Answer Coalition, protesting Israel, protesting aid to Israel, supporting Arabs, supporting, I hate to say Palestinians, it's a made-up name. They're just Arabs. Arabs who want to live in Israel. Tens of thousands flood the airports to ban no wall. Once again, this is by answer.org. I don't know the funding of answer.org. That would be very interesting. I'm sure a lot of it is American Marxist and organizations. I'm sure a lot of it is Soros. Anyone who wants to bring down the United States would be funding them. I support Hamas. Again, this is the Answer Coalition. Pro-Hamas rally. Of course, they forget in Middle Eastern countries where Hamas rules, where ISIS rules, where Islamic law rules, where Sharia laws, women can't go out in public. I guess they forget that. They can't go out in public. They have to be totally covered. They certainly can't riot and do that, what they're doing here. Here's one of their posters. Let's just break the system. Here is another coalition of those who cannot thrive in Western capitalism. And to rebel is right. It is right to rebel. From whence does that come? That almost reminds me of Aleister Crowley's "Do as thou wilt." It is right to rebel. That is directly from the mindset of the accuser himself, the ultimate, most successful rebel. As Saul Alinsky said, when he put forth his outline for rebels, he said the most successful rebel in history is Satan himself. Look at this poster right here. That does not look peaceful. These people are not peaceful. They're angry and they're mean. Their failure to thrive has made them mean. Look at these people. They're living at home, most of them. A lot of them, a third of them, are unemployed. They're underachieving. You can look at this picture and you can see they're misfits. They're underachievers. They do not have full-time jobs or demanding jobs, or they wouldn't have the energy and the time to go out and do what they do. Trouble begins in the middle of the country. These are the words of Dumitru Duduman, who came here from Romania, and God told him, I have brought you here to warn the Americans about what is coming, because I love America and I want the people to be prepared. I said, how will America burn? America is the most powerful country in the world. Why'd you bring us here to burn? Why didn't you at least let us die where all the Dudumans have died? He said, he's talking to an angel, remember this, Dumitru, the Russian spies have discovered where the nuclear warehouses are in America, when the Americans will think that it is peace and safety. From the middle of the country, some of the people will start fighting against the government. The government will be busy with integral problems. Then from the ocean, from Cuba, Nicaragua, Mexico. He told me 2 other countries, but I can't remember what they were. They will bomb the nuclear warehouses. When they explode, America will burn. And I ask you, from the middle of the country, it will start. Was that Ferguson? This has never really gone away. This has morphed into Black Lives Matter, and from that we have seen it has become a coalition of those who either do not like our form of government or cannot succeed in this jobless society. And indeed, I mean, this is getting hard for everybody. State Department whistleblowers. As a recently retired 25-year veteran of the U.S. Department of State who served almost 8 years as a refugee coordinator throughout the Middle East, Africa, Russia, and Cuba, I have seen firsthand the abuses and fraud that permeate the refugee program and know about the entrenched interests that fight every effort to implement much needed reform. This is a cut and paste, sorry for the typos. Despite claims of enhanced vetting, the reality is that it is virtually impossible to vet an individual who has no type of an official record, particularly in countries compromised by terrorism. U.S. immigration officials simply rely on the person's often rehearsed and fabricated testimony. I have personally seen this on hundreds of occasions. So much for the vetting of immigrants. They come from places where there aren't the CCTV cameras. There isn't the online presence. They don't have access to Facebook. They can't be. I mean, if people in Western countries want to be investigated, I mean, all you have to do is go to the net, go to all their electronics. You could probably pretty much get an idea of what they buy, what they do, what their socio-eco standing is, what they say, and what they believe. Not so from these countries who don't have the online presence, as many of these countries do not. Self-replicating malware in European banks. This is, again, from Dave Hodges. European banks are infected with self-replicating malware, and it was Dave's opinion that this was going to be a contributing factor in the failure of European banks. And remember, David Wilkerson said, it starts in Germany. Here is a video clip of the 1973 vision of David Wilkerson. Global collapse starts in Germany. Can we see Deutsche Bank stress even now? Of course, that is the leading bank in Europe. That's the leading bank in the European Union. That's the leading bank in Germany, is Deutsche Bank. Look down here in the lower right. Here we see, this is the German gross domestic product. Here is the total derivative exposure, and they are very aggressive in taking on derivative debt. This is even more now. But you can see with the debt, with the exposure, and their gross domestic product, even all of Germany could not pay off this debt, let alone the German bank, Deutsche Bank. Who is going to pay this off? Well, we can see stress on Germany because of Brexit, malware, and the fact that Germany, UK, France, and Italy are carrying the EU financially. Look at this graph up here. Who contributes most? Here is in the positive. Germany contributes over 6 billion euros a year. Really? Well, Greece is taking out almost 6 billion euros a year. So the Greece demand on the euro, it almost equals the German contribution. Poland takes out over 5 billion euros. And here we have the second contributor is the UK, and that's UK is out. This support in some place in the future will stop. Italian banks here, another big contributor. Italian banks are under stress right now. France has a right-wing party now coming up. The Le Pen. Don't know where that will go, but there's certainly nationalism is going to militate against unions like the European Union. But this is a very disturbing graph. Most of the EU countries are there because they get money from it. They're almost paid to be there. This is from Martin Armstrong. He predicted the 1987 Black Monday crash. Deutsche Bank was extremely aggressive in derivatives. It's a serious crisis here. Deutsche Bank is not just the biggest bank in Germany, it is the Cadillac of Europe. The derivatives could create a contagion. It's not looking good. So there are a lot of reasons why Deutsche Bank will lead the world in bank crashes. After Germany, it goes to Japan, And in another place, Wilkerson said within 2 weeks of Mexico defaulting, the United States defaults. Because most of Mexican debt, and now, it's in the hundreds of billions. Most of the Mexican debt is held by the United States. Well, it looks like there are tens of billions, not hundreds of billions, that Mexico owes the United States. Nonetheless, we are the largest creditor. David Wilkerson's vision, in total, the vision he had and reported on in 1973 is here. I urge you to listen to the whole thing. The final piece of it was, I am in control, because he was just tormented by what he was seeing. Tormented. He got up in the middle of the night, asked Father, and that was the resounding answer, I am in control. The key is to just make certain, as Jesus Yeshua told Nicodemus, you must be reborn of the Spirit. If you have not had that experience or cannot articulate that experience, and you probably haven't been there, even though you've been going to, some kind of religious gathering for, all your life, please seek that. Please seek it. Read the Bible every day and pray. Just start at page 1 in Scripture and start praying. Show me. I need a new heart. I need the oil in my lamp. Please help me in this. He also said, this is David Wilkerson, and when the banks open the next day at 9 in the morning, $15 billion an hour is going to be withdrawn from our American banks. They're going to be running our banks, the Arabs, all the Latin American countries. They're going to be running our banks, and before the day is over, the USA is going to have to declare a bank holiday. And we're going to be, when we're going into 6 months of the worst hell America has ever seen, there's going to be chaos. Not even the National Guard's going to be able to quiet it down. We're going to have to call out the whole U.S. Army. Now, I've had visions recently, for I've been in New York City, and I was in Macy's in a vision, and I saw the people walking around stunned because they couldn't get their money out of the bank. And now I'm going to give you a word of advice. The first country goes bankrupt. I've documented this, and I've got it sealed in an envelope, and I'm going to call all my friends, and I'm going to tell you, this is the first time I've said it in a public meeting, but the first country that bellies up, which is Germany, you go get every dime out of the bank that you have. Church, get your money out of the bank, because there's going to be a bank holiday, and you won't be able to get a dime out for 6 months. Now, of course, it's going to be restored, but the nation will never be like it is again. There's going to be fear like we've never known, judgment at the door. When I was at Macy's department store in a vision and I watched people walking around stunned, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what was happening. Then a bunch of people walked into Macy's and suddenly went wild and began to steal. And within an hour, I saw the spirit of everybody in the store. They were robbing and stealing. They raped Macy's and destroyed 5 floors. Macy's was raped and ruined in a period of about an hour or 2. That is what awaits America. And when the banks do close, when they open up again, what will happen to our money? Gone. This is a bail-in. Remember, the government has announced no more bailouts. We're going to have a bail-in. And to this end, they have already re-legislated the definition of a bank account holder. It is not the owner of funds. You think you own your money in the bank? You do not. That's why they're telling you you can't draw it out anymore, because you are not the legal owner. The bank is. You are merely a shareholder. Your deposits cause you to be not an owner, but a shareholder in the bank. And if the bank goes belly up, well, the shareholders have to pay first. That's a bail-in. That book is already on the books. That happened, I believe, in 2012. China is ready for war? Maybe so. Pearl Harbor 2, they're brandishing ICBMs. Here it is. These pictures are from Gary Franchi. Look at the picture in the upper left. This is a U.S. destroyer in a harbor. Here's the wharf. Here is a Mach to scale ship that is located in China, and they are using it to practice their attack on America's Navy. Here is the impact crater. This is where they would have to land a missile in order to take out all 3 destroyers. They have building targets over here. They have mock airports, mock airways, mock runways for airports to destroy airports. Here is a mock-up fuel tank in China. Here is a regular fuel tank depot in Japan. Here is the mock-up that they can use to practice on, so they can take this out. Are they going to attack Japan? Well, history says that in World War II, Japan was not very nice to China. Have they harbored a 70-year-old, 80-year-old grudge? Here is an aircraft. Here is a fighter plane on the ground in Japan. Here's a mock-up in China, complete with the destructive fallout of after they have attacked this aircraft. But the good news is, as God told David Wilkerson, face to face, God is in control. Please, if you don't have him, if you haven't been reborn of the Spirit, please seek him now as never before, because this will come quickly. I shall see you next week. Be safe, read your Bible every day, pray every day, because I'm praying for each one of you.
God's placed me here tonight to warn of a coming hour of persecution. The Holy Spirit is my witness. This convention tonight is being warned here and now of an intense hour of persecution for all Spirit-filled believers. Here to prepare to be hated, rejected, maligned, and ridiculed. Now, if you believe Acts 2:4 about a special doom of the power from on high, then you've got to also believe Acts 2:17. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions. I saw a vision this past April, so frightening it staggered my mind. And for the past 3 months, I've tried to shake it off, but I can't do it. I've only had 2 in my life. The first, 15 years ago, took me to the streets of New York, and every fact of that vision's been fulfilled. I've been terribly afraid to share this vision up till tonight, for fear I'd be called a fanatic. But the same Holy Ghost that prompted me 12 years ago to share the story of the cross and switchblade has prompted me tonight to share this vision with you. In this vision, I saw 5 terrible calamities coming to America and the world. First of all, a worldwide recession caused by economic confusion. I saw in my vision at most a few more fat, flourishing years, and then an economic recession that's going to affect the lifestyle of every wage earner in the world. The world economists are going to get lost to explain what's happening. It's going to start in Germany, spread to Japan, and finally to the United States. Large and trusted corporations are going to go bankrupt. Many churches are going to go into bankruptcy. And some missionary projects are going to flounder. And one of the clearest messages I've ever received from God in my life is this: use the next few good years left to prepare for a financial crisis. Get your house in order because hard times are coming.